So good afternoon, champion. So hoping you had a great week. This being a Friday, today being our last day of our trading session for this wonderful week. So I just hope that you are still having wonderful day trading. So I'd like to officially welcome you to our today's analysis. Today we are going to analyze the Euro USD NAS 100, and we are going to finish up our analysis with Euro NZD. So hopefully it will be a recap of what has been happening throughout the week, and also it will be preparing us for the trading week that is next week, and also for the evening session for today, because as we all know that usually on Fridays the markets are very volatile and you have to be in the right for you to be able to be profitable. Okay, so let us start our analysis with NAS 100. So NAS 100 from the let me just start off from the daily time frame. So looking at NAS 100 from the daily time frame, so let me just do some small settings before proceeding to the analysis. Okay. So looking at looking at NAS 100 from the daily time frame, you can see that we have a general upward trend, and I think it is well explainable. So you can see that whenever the market touch this particular trend line, the market always move towards the downside. So and then we have been having, so these were double touches to the downside, approving for assured formation to the upside. So you can see that after making these double touches, the market moved straight to touch the trend line that was above, and we have been experiencing a lot of downward movement until the market came and touched this particular point of support that is here. Then out of this, we have experienced a lot of upward trend move toward the upside. What we are currently expecting is that the markets are going to move what we are expecting from this point is that the markets are going to move from this particular point. So you can see that we are with that particular point. So and then we are expecting that the markets are going to they might pull down to this particular point of support just to have a retrace before moving toward the upside to this particular point of support. uh, and also in other words, so that is what I'm expecting the markets to do. But again, if they don't do that, then I'm expecting that the markets are going to move. So you can see that the market have moved to this particular point of resistance. Then we are expecting that they are going to create a breakout and move toward this particular point of resistance also before having movement towards the upside to touch this particular trend line that is here. So that is what I'm expecting that the markets are going to behave. So let us move into the 1 hour time frame. So looking at the market from the 1 hour time frame, what I'm expecting is that we are going to experience kind of a double theory of triangle. So you can see that the markets came from this particular point, rose up to this particular point, came to this point of support. So what we're expecting is that the market are going to rise up to this particular point here. So that is what we are currently expecting the markets to do. So they may come back to this particular point of support before proceeding to higher levels. So you can see that currently the market moved. So for NAS 100, usually like for this particular area here, you can see that we had experienced a lot of downward movement, but then when it came to a particular Friday, we experienced a breakout to the upside, that is a move to the upside. We experienced a lot of breakout and they created new highs. That is what NAS 100 has been doing. So the market usually creates new highs every time. So you can see the same movement that has been characterized. You can see that when the market touched this particular point, the market rose up to these levels that are here, and that is what has happened. So market, after touching this particular point, the market has raised up to this particular point here. So what we are expecting, and I sent this signal. I think the whole of this week we have been trading toward the upside. We started from this particular point here where we were targeting to reach so from I think from Monday we were targeting to move from this particular point to rise up to this particular point. But then since that cannot happen just in one way, market tend to form some particular patterns, and you will realize that we were moving in stages. So we moved from this particular levels to this particular level. We got out of the market, waited for the market to come to this particular level, got in at this particular level, the market rose up to this particular level. We again pulled out of the market, we came down, waited for the market to have a pullback to this point of support, and currently we are in this trade where we are expecting that the markets are going to rise up to these levels. So that is what we are expecting when it comes to NAS100. That is from the from the 4 hour time frame. Looking at it from the 1 hour time frame, we are currently expecting that the markets are going to. So we are expecting that the markets are going to, they are going to rise from these levels here, because this is a very strong point of support. So it was just a retrace after touching this particular area. We're expecting that the markets are going now to move from this particular area to rise high to this particular area. So in this trade, we are risking a total of just 63 pips for a total reward of 394 pips. So you can see that the risk to reward ratio, so it is 6 to 21, which is also good, and it is safe also when it comes to account management. Okay, now let us move to the Euro USD. So looking at Euro USD from the daily time frame, uh, I talked about it. I tend to think it was around last week when we were analyzing the Euro USD. So you can see that the market, after touching these particular areas, the market moved high to these levels. And since this is a very strong point of support, so the market were again pulled down to these particular levels. So as I expected the markets to behave, so the market came down to this level. That's why you can see that my stop loss was a little lower than this region or this particular point of support. So you can see that the markets came lower to this level, but then they rose higher. So what we are expecting, since this is a very strong point of support, and based on the previous movement, we are expecting that the markets are going to move from this particular area. So we are expecting the markets are going to move from this particular area, and they are going to rise high to this particular levels. And this same round, we are expecting a breakout to the upside, that is to these levels, and also higher levels as we move on with the days to come. So you can see that at this particular, this is our main target, this region of resistance. This is our main target when it comes to the daily time frame. Now looking at the market from the 1 hour time frame, you can see that it is almost similar patterns that are being created by the NAS100. But since this is a currency, it tends to have some differences with the NAS100. You can see that based on the previous movement, that when the market nearly came to this point of support, the market always rise high to these levels, and that is what we are expecting. So based on this analysis, you can see that when markets come to this particular areas, the market always rise to these levels. They have some pullback to this point of support before creating new highs, some retracement to this particular point of support, and move to the upside, some downward movement and move to the upside, and then further move to the upside. So that is what we are expecting that the markets are going to do also at this particular region. So that's why you can see that I've placed in a long position, or rather a buy stop order, because I'm expecting that when the markets came from this particular area, the market rose to this point of resistance. Since it's a very strong point of resistance, the market had to come down to these particular areas. So again, the market are going to rise, creating a breakout above this particular point of resistance, and we are expecting that the markets are going to come to this particular level. We may experience some pullback to the downside again, but then I'm expecting that they are going to also create a breakout to the upside to come to this particular point of resistance. So for the long term, what I'm expecting is that the markets are going to move from this particular region to this particular region. So that is what we are expecting for the long term when it comes to the 4 hour time frame. So in this trade, I think when we'll be getting into this trade, I'll just be risking a total of 200 pips for a total reward of I think 1200 pips, which is also good. Now moving on to the Euro NZD. The Euro NZD has been a very perfect pair. Trading it has been wonderful. So looking at Euro NZD, you can see that when it comes to the daily time frame, we are at a particular point of consolidation. I talked about point of consolidation. So a point of consolidation is where the markets are neither moving, making a general bullish trend or a general bearish trend, but rather it is moving toward the side. So the markets are moving in between. So the market are either touching, so the markets are moving in between this particular point of resistance and also this particular point of support. So you can see that from this trade, you can see that the market, after touching this particular point here, the market rose up to this point, came down, tagged this point. We had a general tag to that particular point. We had another move and nearly tagged to this particular point. We had a move to the upside again, and currently you can see that we have had a touch to the downside. So what we are expecting, since it is a point of consolidation, we are expecting that the markets are going to move toward the upside. So that is the Euro NZD from the daily time frame. So looking at it from the 4 hour time frame, you can clearly see. So there are particular patterns that are being created. Remember, this is a very strong point of resistance. You can see that this is a very strong point of resistance, and you will see that whenever the market creates some tag to this particular point of resistance, the market always move toward the downside. And generally, if you're able to view it in the right way, you can see that this is a general upward trend, even though it is not showing so much, but this is a general upward trend. You can see that whenever the markets, so let me show you. So you can see that the markets came to this particular point, moved on to this particular point here, made a touch to this particular point of resistance, came down. We had a touch to the downside, came down to this particular level. So what we are expecting is that the market are going to make attach to this particular point of resistance and also attach at this particular uh, trend line, and then we are expecting the same pattern to continue as we move on. So generally you can see that this is it is like a general upward trend. You can see that I got into this trade at these particular areas here, uh, at this point of resistance, and I moved up with the market. So I'm still waiting. So in this trade, you can see I'm resting at a total of, this is nearly 300 pips for a total reward of 1400 pips. So generally, I'm expecting that the markets are going to move toward this particular level that are here. So that is all that I had. We can look at, let me just add the US30 that we can complete our analysis. So looking at US30, you can see that we had a breakout to the downside, but it was a retest to this particular point of support. So what I will do, it is just correct this and place it at that particular point, because these are new patterns that are being created, and whenever new patterns are created, the only thing that you can do is just to adjust your analysis. So you can see that generally, you can see that the market, after touching this particular point here, the market moved generally to this particular side here, and then we had a move to the downside to make a touch to that particular point, and you can see that the market have made that touch here. So generally, we're expecting that the markets are going to come to these levels and create a move to these particular areas that are here. So moving into the 1 hour time, I mean the 4 hour time frame, what we are expecting, since it is kind of an upward trend, we are expecting that the markets are going to. So let me adjust this first. So place it at that particular area. So this is kind of a very strong point of, looks like more of a point of resistance. So that is the match that I can analyze out of it. So I think we're going to remove that so that you can have a clear view, and also I'm going to remove that. Yeah. So you can see that in the downward trend, so let me transfer the trend line that I've just corrected here to move into the 1 hour time frame, that you can have it at that particular area. So this is the trend line that I was analyzing. So you can see that trend line. So what we are expecting, since it is moving toward the upside, and as we always know, the characteristics of the US30 also, each after every 1 week it has to create new highs, and today being a Friday, we are expecting that the US30 is going to create new highs. That's why you can see that I've placed in this long position that is here, because I'm expecting, you can see that the market moved to this level. So we had a beautiful upward trend to this particular point of resistance. So this is a point of resistance. If you are able to see it, this is a very strong point of resistance. So as I expected, the markets were going to retrace. In fact, I was expecting that I was expecting that the markets were going to move from this particular point to touch this particular point, but you can see that I don't know if that green candlestick is a clean confirmation that it is ready to move toward the downside, but I think patience will tell. So I was expecting that it will come to touch this particular point of support before creating a breakout to this level and also creating new highs as we move forward. So that is it that I had for you for US30. So hoping that you today, being a Friday, you'll be able to make some few profit as we move into the weekend. So that is all that I had. If you're watching this on YouTube, please don't forget to subscribe, like, share this content to some of your, I mean, all of your friends who are interested in trading forex, all of your relatives, and share this to as many people as possible. And also, if you want to join our WhatsApp group, the link is in the description space below this video. Our Telegram channel is also in the description space below this video. You can follow us on Instagram, you can follow us on Facebook, and also on Twitter. All the link are in the description space below this video. So thank you for listening to me. And it is always my prayer that may the peeps always be with you. Thank you.